So I turn. Okay. And we could keep it good. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order.
Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Hooper, be it resolved that the regular meeting, the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Assiginack be open for business at 7 p.m. with a quorum of members present, with Mayor Reed presiding in the chair.
All those in favor? We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional lands of the Three Fires Confederacy, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi peoples of Mindy-Mincing. We recognize and deeply appreciate the stewardship and historic connection to this place, and recognize that we must do more to learn about its rich history so that we will better understand our role as residents, neighbors, partners, and caretakers. And adoption of agenda.
Moved by Councillor Hooper, seconded by Councillor Elliott, be it resolved that we approve the agenda as presented.
All those in favor? A reminder, if you have pecuniary interest, you may declare it now or at the time of risings. Announcements. I have one. Oh, do you have an announcement? Jen? Oh, I have one announcement. I would just like to send out a great big thank you to the Assiginack Public School students and staff. They collected 38 bags of waste for Earth Day cleanup in our town, and it's very much appreciated. So thank you to all of them for doing that.
They did a great job.
Yeah, yeah, town looks really nice. Okay, we want to minutes.
Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Hooper, be it resolved that we adopt the minutes of the meeting, the regular council meeting of March 18th and April 15th, 2025, and committee for whole April 1st and May 13th, 2025.
Okay, any discussion on any of those?
There's the sunrise ceremony.
There is?
I don't know if they're doing a sunrise ceremony.
No.
It starts at 8:30,
Okay.
so it's not gonna be that early.
Right, I couldn't find it in the,
I was, yeah, we asked last week.
Right.
But no.
yeah, no, I double checked everything, so I couldn't phone anybody, but I think they would have had it on the agenda.
Yeah, I think it starts at 8:30.
Okay.
Tomorrow night at 6:30, I believe, is the opening at Debauch.
Okay.
Was that for all of the minutes or just a?
It's for all of them.
Okay, I just, you were gonna get back to us, Brenda. I had asked about the, on the last payroll for Andrew Garhart.
Yes, Andrew, fills in part-time at the library now. He is the second person there.
Okay.
Like, there's always somebody that fills in for the librarian
Did we
and
post for that job or
no,
we don't need to?
no,
Okay,
the board does its own thing.
okay.
Can we come back to that at some point, just because I'm curious as to why the library doesn't follow standard,
They have their own legislation.
they have their own legislation, so the
Yeah.
museum isn't the same as the library.
Yeah.
I see.
No, and it's very casual.
Yeah, I personally feel if anybody's hired by the township, it should go through the same process and be posted for people to apply. But
Yeah, the board stands alone, the library board.
they're paid by ratepayer dollars.
The board isn't.
No, but the employees are, that's why I'm asking. Right, so if they have a different legislation and they have a different hiring practice, and that's in the legislation, then that's fine, it's just
Yeah.
confusing to people.
Yeah, they've never posted that I'm aware of, and I sat on it for 20 years with different people coming and going to fill in as casual.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay,
I just know you were gonna get back to us.
yeah.
Okay,
Is there anything else from those minutes? Any of them? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. We have no delegations or reports tonight. So action items, we'll start with the payroll.
Moved by Councillor Hooper, seconded by Councillor Elliott. Be it resolved, the council authorizes the following accounts for payment: payroll, $111,994.50, pursuant to the attached treasurer statement of accounts.
Okay. Any other questions on that? All those in favor? In general,
Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Hooper. Be resolved that council authorizes the following accounts for payment: general $599,722 for $440, sorry. Pursuant to the attached treasurer statement of accounts.
okay, questions on that? Nothing?
No.
Okay, all those in favor? And we have a lot of requests for support. I don't know if you want to go through them individually, or I was thinking we could just ask if anybody has any of them that they want to support. There is the strong mayor powers. Most people are opposed to it from the looks of it.
I was gonna say, I think that one is definitely a no for me. I think it gives one person way too much power, but
So you do want to support that one?
no, I don't.
But most of them are saying they don't want it either, if I read it right.
Yes, I think you want to support the resolution that says we don't want that.
Then yes.
legislation.
Yes, okay,
Yes. Yeah.
so we'll support that.
Could, could you speak to that, just so that anybody who is watching, I could not explain strong mayor powers easily. It's just so that other people know basically what that's strong, because it sounds really terrible, so.
It was set up in, I think, 2023. It started with the 8 largest municipalities in the province. And the idea behind it was to give the head of council powers to fast track housing initiatives. That was the genesis of it. You could cut through all of the red tape and the planning requirements and all of the different government agencies that had input into private housing and social and public housing. And the legislation was designed to cut through all of that. So you'd have a person in a municipality being the head of council who could steer a development. And like lots of other pieces of draft legislation, things got added on to it. So in addition to that housing oversight, a head of council who has strong mayor authority could present a complete budget to council for consideration. The head of council could hire and fire the chief administrative officer and replace the chief administrative officer without consulting with the rest of council. And it was all well and good when you were talking about Toronto, Hamilton, Windsor, the London, the larger municipalities. But now I think it's almost half of the total. So well over 200 municipalities in the province now have the ability to use that power. We don't. So far, if your if you are a ratepayer of a municipality that has a council greater than 5 people, that power has been offered to your council. As the mayor said, nobody is jumping up and down in support of it. I know of only 2 instances where it's been used in the province. One was in Hamilton, where the mayor who was opposed to it used it to push through a social housing development. And one where it was granted for a specific time period, which is the only time I'm aware of that happening. It was granted for a 2-year period of time in the city of Aurelia. And the mayor used it to replace the chief administrative officer. Those are the only 2 times I'm aware of it being used. There's also a section in there that I don't know that anyone ever anticipated it coming into play, but there's also a section in there where you can you can adopt a resolution with less than a majority of council. And I think that's why a lot of municipalities object to this, because it's really creating a break in.
There's no point in having
democratic
council.
process. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, and then it adds issues like vetoes, and overriding vetoes and, not that I don't have the utmost respect for every solicitor in the province, but it's gonna make them rich at our ratepayers' expense. So I'm opposed to it as well. It's not necessary in 95% of the municipalities in the province, it's not necessary.
Thank you. I just thought you'd be able to explain that a whole lot better than me fumbling through.
Okay. We'll do that one, yeah, we'll do that one first.
Okay, so moved by Councillor Hooper, seconded by Councillor Elliott. Be resolved that the Township of Assiginack does not support the strong mayor powers and correspondence be circulated to the Premier of Ontario, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, AMO, and all Ontario municipalities.
Any more discussion on that then? All those in favor? The next one was, petitioning the province for not allowing exotic animals, wild animals and licensing zoos. Anybody want to support that? Definitely. This one. Ontario Works financial assistance. They want to raise the rates of Ontario Works to match the ODSP rate increases. Anybody? You're in favor of that, Jen? You'd like to support it?
Yes.
Anybody else want to talk to that?
I'd support it. It just seems fair, that at some point those numbers have to get adjusted, right?
Mhm.
The documentation provided doesn't give us a breakdown of how much money is being paid out and when the last raise and increase in that all of that, so. I would support it, but I think we'll next have some more documentation on it.
Okay. Let's see if we can get something, but I agree. I think if you're going to increase one, you should increase both of them.
Mhm.
We'll do that one then.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Hooper, seconded by Councillor Elliott, be resolved that we support the town of Coburg to urge the province to increase the Ontario Works rate to match ODSP rate increases, which are indexed to inflation, and commit to ongoing cost of living increases above their rate of inflation to match years where rates were frozen.
All those in favor of that? That's carried. Erie Sound is asking for support, for federal support for inclusive research. What do you want to support that? I don't. Not proposal to end daylight savings time. No.
I thought they were going to.
Ah,
A few
I would
years ago.
support that one, because honestly, that plays havoc on a lot of people. I would support it.
well, I think it's already in the works, like they're waiting for New York, right? Basically.
I've never seen any draft legislation,
Oh.
so I'd support it too.
Yeah.
I think it's time.
I think we
has
should
passed.
keep daylight savings time and get rid of the other one. But anyway, that's just me, maybe.
I would support that one. I just find there's,
Okay,
Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Hooper, be it resolved that we support the Township of Otonabe, South Monaghan, with their request to the province of Ontario to enact the Time Amendment Act 2020 for November 2nd, 2025, and remove the contingency to include New York with the act.
all those in favor? Okay. Township of Georgina with winter snow and ice management, and they are wanting salt mitigation efforts.
not sure what that means exactly. I
You
kind
understand?
of break through it, but
way I understood it, they were petitioning the province to reduce the amount of salt that they were using for their communities.
Yes, because, yeah, they're looking to reduce the concentration of it and looking to use, other varieties, of snow melting abilities. Because, particularly larger municipalities have to file a plan with the Ministry of Transportation as to where they pile their snow. And then when that snow melts, you find a concentration of salt. And so it used to be that you'd pile it, close to a river and it become snow melt and life was fantastic until they started paying attention to salt concentration. Now the province is looking for things other than salt to use. And it's, in my opinion, very area specific. I don't think it's going to work well. I say that, with proviso that with global warming and climate change, who the hell knows? But in a really hard winter, if you don't have salt, you don't have that protection.
You have ice.
You have problems, yes. But it's like a lot of other issues that the province is involved in itself in terms of, environmental concerns. Not everything that they come up with works well in our neck of the woods. And
Yeah.
so we always recognize those risks. So I feel for the town of Georgina, but I wouldn't be jumping up and down to support this one at this time.
Definitely.
How many
Okay.
truckloads of salt do we use in a year? Like, how many do we get in a year? Is it
I don't
five
think
or
it's full.
10 or 12?
Well, we do it by volume.
I think I usually get the one invoice a year,
Yes, yeah,
usually.
it's not, for us, it's not a great deal, and for where we dispose of it, it's a long way from the water.
Yes.
As compared to a lot of other municipalities that put their dumps right by the water's edge. So I don't think we have that risk.
I actually was watching a little informative video from Science North that the sodium volumes in Ramsey Lake, when they test the water because of the salt they use on the roadways, and that's the only thing in Ramsey Lake that is higher than it should be.
Yeah.
So it's actually alarming. Right, now that we
Yeah.
pay attention to these
In
things.
larger centers, I would agree with you.
Yes.
Okay, I do that over the ice and accidents and everything.
Well, yeah, I think our usage is what is needed, not excessive.
I think it'd be nice to have alternatives if there were some.
If there were,
If there
yeah,
were some, yeah,
But I don't think there is.
no. Okay, the next one you might want to support, it's Government of Ontario to increase surveillance and spot checks of all heavy vehicles traveling on Ontario roads, as well as monitoring the testing standards maintained by privately owned heavy licensing facilities. Anybody? Yes?
Yes, of course.
Moved by Councillor Hooper, seconded by Councillor Bowerman, be it resolved that we support the Township of Assignack regarding further surveillance and monitoring of heavy vehicles in Ontario to ensure safety to our other motorists, property owners and pedestrians.
Anybody else want to speak to that? I think that's just given that we would support that.
Absolutely.
All those in favor then? Okay. We have a letter from Twisted Sister. They're asking for their lease to be renewed for another year. Discussion on that?
Were we gonna make that to budget time to discuss? No?
Don't think so. What they're paying right now is, well, it well covers the cost of the hydro.
Okay.
Okay, so they're asking for a 1 year, but they're They can do two, but we're suggesting one.
Yeah, I think I'd feel more comfortable if we saw the numbers first. Like, I'm not disagreeing with it, I think they're fabulous. I just would like to see the numbers. I would rather do it year by year based on how, that usage, because the rent is not high there. I just think it's responsible of us to make sure that the numbers are good.
Deb's figured
I
out.
have them. I did the calculation on the average hydro for the last year and it's like over $100 less than what they're paying for the rent. So it's covering it.
It's covering it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, very well.
Okay,
Okay,
so just a year then, we'll review it year by year.
I would say year by year. I would.
I think for this year,
For
and
this year,
then we'll
indeed.
see what happens next year.
Moved by Councillor Hooper, seconded by Councillor Bowerman, be resolved that we approve entering into an agreement which was to sister for the lease of Toboggan Hill Canteen for a 1-year term beginning June 12th, 2025 to June 11th, 2026.
Okay. All those in favor then? That's carried. Our new snowplow is finally here. It's just amazing what it is.
It was here last
Yeah,
Monday, was it not?
It was, I should have told you that.
I seen it in the picture.
Yeah, well, I thought we should all have our picture taken with, probably like a council picture and the guys. Which we, okay, so we'll set that up. I've had a few people asking me and a couple counselors if we're going to have a name the snowplow contest. I'm wondering, do you want to have a name the snowplow contest?
Sure.
It could be a
A
fun.
little bit of fun, yeah.
Yeah, council doesn't always have to be so dreary, does it? Right. Everybody's kind of nodding their head?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have to figure out like when we're having the contest and for how long, and then what we're offering for the winner.
And are we going to put the name on it? Like, is there gonna be?
I don't think
Okay,
so.
okay. Cause I didn't think that would be good.
No.
Okay,
If I could suggest that staff will give you a report for the committee, the whole meeting, for the recommendation.
Okay,
Big wonder.
Yes.
okay.
I don't see why you couldn't put the name in like the corner of it.
I'm surprised that in talking with the superintendent, I'm surprised at the number of things that have to go through the door in terms of meeting provincial requirements, so I call it something really short and sweet, might be better for us.
Maybe we'll get the guy a hat that drives it that says that he went to the.
I know green is a Assiginack color, but a lot of our trucks are white.
A lot of our smaller trucks are white, most of our plow trucks are green.
Okay,
And I think that's why that's why the color was selected, was to try to standardize, like the Bone Beach we've been. Yeah, it's really the only one that's
Stands out.
not been green,
okay,
so, yeah, it's our smaller trucks, our 1 ton and our pickup trucks that are, we're not as concerned about the color.
okay. Is white typically cheaper than green, than a color?
Yes,
Maybe we should look at changing our.
I don't know if you want a white snow.
I don't think you want a white snowplow, no, and, when we go for a 1 ton or a 3/4 ton, white is usually just the fleet color, it's just.
Less expensive.
Less expensive, whereas when it's a plow truck and it's $400,000, they'll paint it whatever lovely shade of chartreuse you'd like, but yeah, white isn't really the best
No.
color for a plow truck.
No, that would be dangerous, I think.
Mhm.
They're ghostly enough when you get a bad snowstorm and it's puffy snow. Okay, so we'll have a report on that then, and then we'll go ahead with that. We can start thinking up names for our new snowplow. We have a couple information items on the Manitoulin East Municipal Airport Commission and the Sudbury District Public Health Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Any questions on any of that? No? Interesting reading. And we have one bylaw today.
Which one is as information? Have a motion.
Oh, yes, sorry.
We have moved by Councillor Hooper and seconded by Councillor Garman. Be resolved that items 7A and B are accepted as information.
All those in favor then? That's carried. Okay, and our bylaw is our customer service policy, which we looked at last week. So we have to accept it by bylaw now.
Moved by Councillor Hooper, seconded by Councillor Bowerman. Be resolved that bylaw number 2025-11 be a bylaw to adopt the customer service policy, be given a first, second, and third final reading and enacted in open council.
Okay, any more, any discussion
Is
on
that
that?
available for people to view anywhere? Like they have to go into Assignack and look up that bylaw or,
It'll be on the website.
okay.
Okay, all those in favor then? And that's carried. Okay. So there is no closed session tonight, so we can move to adjournment.
Moved by Councillor Hooper, seconded by Councillor Bowerman, that council adjourns at 7:25 and can see you in the next regular meeting on June 17th.
Okay. All those in favor? Next regular meeting is that day, but there is a meeting next Tuesday night to set budget. We have our final numbers, okay?